Hi, my name is Eryka Parker. I'm a book coach as well as a moderator of the Black Don't Crack Book Spines Book Club. And I just had a wonderful conversation with Jewel for her So Booking Cool podcast. I invite you to listen to this episode. We discuss so many different things: Black literature, literature as a whole, and of course, the top book club picks. So enjoy this episode, and we'll see you soon.
It's so motherfucking cool to listen to So Booking Cool.
Welcome to So Booking Cool. It's Jewel B. Today's guest is the award-winning book coach from Legacy Book Coaching and Consulting. She's a journalist, former ghostwriter, and the moderator of the Black Don't Crack Book Spines Book Club from AALBC.com. She is Eryka Parker.
Hey, good morning.
Hi, good morning, Eryka. And we hope all is well with you. Thank you for joining us today. I definitely want to know, do you ever get torn when it comes to trying to choose the book club pick?
Oh, absolutely, Jewel. There are so many great titles out there today, as well as some of the historic titles, of course. We're trying to be very mindful when selecting books and making sure that the books represent the people that are going to be reading it and making sure that we're contributing to a fruitful conversation that everyone can be challenged by. We want you to walk away learning something about yourself, about our history, and about just how to survive today in today's world.
Talk about it in today's world. So,
Yeah.
have the books been connecting to today's world, the climate of now, and how so, would you say?
Oh, absolutely. So our first book, People Person by Candice Carty Williams, was a great selection. We had some readers from the UK join, so that was an international meeting, and they were able to give us some context about their history as Nigerians, as well, and coming over to the UK, as well as just some of the modern undertones, looking and saying, "Oh, wow!" As we walk the city, some of the cities were fictitious, but there were definitely the culture was there for them. So they enjoyed being able to read a book that reflected their culture. And then we read Black AF History for February. Of course, that was a very lively conversation as we were just discussing what we knew, what we came into it knowing, and how we got a deeper context of our history, learning more about ourselves and how we show up and how our lived experiences have been shaped by history. So that was a wonderful conversation. It was a co-ed conversation. I enjoyed, of course, Troy Johnson, our founder, was a present, but we also had another male person that came and contributed. And he was very adept in Black history, so he contributed very heavily to the conversation as well. So we all learned some great things. And so this month, the month of March, if you're watching a little later, we're talking about Sky Full of Elephants. And so this one was a really great pick because we were able to just really, it's more of the speculative fiction. So this was a great pick because we were able to really understand what would life be like if there were only minorities left in America. What would that look like? What would that experience be like? And so this author took all the creative liberties and told a wonderful story. I gave this one a 5 star. This was my favorite read of the year so far. So, yeah, we'll be discussing that on March 29th. I'm excited about that one.
That is definitely exciting. I love the
Yeah.
concept and all. So, what gets the Eryka stamp of approval then when choosing the books? Anything that you haven't shared with us so far that gets the stamp of approval for you?
Sure. Great question. So I think really what I look for is to have Black stories centered, having Black lived experiences centered. That's really important as we're selecting these stories. We try to do a mixture of fiction and nonfiction. So we will be doing some biographies, possibly looking at Arsenio Hall's biography that will be coming out later this year. We are excited to be approached by a lot of traditional publishers as well to get advanced copies of books that are coming out. For example, Disha. I'm so excited. Her book is coming out, Disha, and I'm so excited. This is a long-awaited second book from her. And so when we were approached by her publisher, we were excited to be able to get advance copy. That's not the cover. The cover is still being decided. I guess they're going to do a cover reveal of it, but we're excited to read this book in November. The True Confessions of First Lady Freeman. So we're excited about that.
Hmm.
But when we're selecting books, we want to make sure that it's a good balance and that it allows us to really look at our lives and look at some of our experiences, how we show up, how to show up in a healthier way, how to understand our history and where we come from, as well as to just have something that's going to be a book club pick type vibe where we're having great discussions. We're learning more about each other. We're creating a shared space and a safe space to share our thoughts and to be able to show up in a way where we're able to make those connections. Because I would like for you to be able to go to any city and be able to find a fellow book lover to go to a bookstore with, to grab coffee with, because hey, they're in my book club and I know them from the Black Don't Crack Book Spines Book Club. I'm going to be in your city. Let's link. So that's the goal. The long term goal to have that shared book lover experience no matter where you go in the United States or in the world.
Yes, and Erica, let us know when you first fell in love with reading and books.
Oh, wow. I'm a long term book lover. Hmm. My earliest memory of just devouring books will probably be second grade on. I used to have this purse. My mom had got me this navy blue leather purse, and I would stack it full of books from Scholastic book fairs
Ooh.
and just walk around with my purse. And one of the most devastating moments as a child was leaving it. We had went in actually into a bookstore, and I had taken it and I set it down for a second to look at books, and then I looked when we left the bookstore, I looked around and I was like, where's my purse? And couldn't find it and was devastated, like mortified. But I ended up, of course, getting those books back, purchasing them at the next book fair or the next trip to the next bookstore. But just being able to have that vivid imagination to imagine myself in those scenarios or in those types of events that were happening and unfurling in my mind was just otherworldly for me. It was just a great way for me to I guess have that natural segue into becoming a writer because I was able to really visualize. And the more elaborate the word painting, the more that I connected with that author. So I love descriptions. I love to be able to see and taste and smell. And I love to be able to see myself in the main character. So being able to relate with those main characters was a very great experience for me. And so we like to choose those types of stories where you can see yourself in the story. If not the primary, maybe the secondary character, or maybe you know someone who has had that same lived experience.
So somebody stole your purse of books?
Yes.
Oh
I
my.
don't know if I was with my aunt at the time. I don't know if she didn't know where the lost and found was for them all. I don't know I was too young to really understand what was happening. I was just in tears. And I'm sure she made a great effort. But yeah, someone probably either turned it into the lost and found or they said, hey, I got a purse full of books.
And again,
Still to this day, that hurts me.
yeah. Oh my, because those were yours. You know,
Yeah,
it shows how much you really are a reader too, because you went and you got those books all over again.
I
Wow.
did. I
Yeah.
saved up and bought them. I did. Little odd jobs and saved up. And my mom said, well, you got to be more responsible. And so she said, but I will give you the opportunity to earn the money to purchase your books back. And so that was a great lesson of showing me how to be responsible, right, with my belongings, but also, okay, mom's going to help you out and let you earn that money so you can get them back.
How often did you reread the books that you enjoyed?
I have probably reread maybe 5 books. I'm not a rereader. There's too many books out there to reread, but I do like to have them in my collection. I do like to meet the authors and get them signed and take a picture with the author. Um, I reread The Darkest Child by Dolores Phillips. That was a must. I reread, wow, there really are not that many, but that's the one that stands out the most. That book was amazing. Oh, I also reread Daniel Black's book. There's a little girl on the cover. Oh, why is that escaping me right now? I'll get that information for you, but I definitely reread that one. Oh my gosh, that book was amazing. Daniel Black is a very talented author.
So you did talk about some of your favorite things, like you like the representation in literature. You also like description. Like, what makes something description heavy?
I, for me, I do, and I enjoy being able to have an immersive reading experience. So that's actually a term now, which I didn't realize. So when you listen to the audiobook and you read the print book together. So that's immersive reading,
Oh.
which I was already doing and didn't know that was a thing. I thought that was just me having ADHD and wanting to stay focused. But what really allows me to really dive in is feeling as though I'm actually there. And so you need to let me know when we're entering the scene who's already there, what they're talking about, what's going on, where they are, what the climate and the vibe is of that particular setting and scene, what the goal is, or what is the main character looking to be able to accomplish, or how are they going to be able to move the story forward in this theme? And so it doesn't have to be edge of your seat, but I would like for it to be where I know and I have a clear understanding of why this scene is happening. This is not a pay, I guess like page filler, right? Where you have, okay, I gotta add another scene in order to prolong, right? This is actually movement. This is action. I want to be in. I want to know what the main character needs, what they want, what is on their mind when they're walking in. Another thing is secondary characters are really, I want them to do a heavy lift here. I don't want them to be plot devices. I want them to actually have their own story where I could say, I could read a book based on this secondary character. They're so amazing. I would love to learn more about them. I want to feel like the characters have a life outside of the page. So while I'm following the main character to this next scene, they're still living and conversing, and the story must go on even though the main character isn't in that scene. So I want to feel like that. I want to wonder what they're doing when the main character leaves. That creates that immersive experience for me.
Oh, I love that, Erica. Yeah. So how do you best know when a book is better as a standalone or a series?
Hmm. I feel as though it's really great as a standalone when I could read it as a series where it's like I could do a book two of this. That's how I know, okay, she did her job because or his job. This is a book that I would there was a sequel, even though they wrapped everything up with a bow, right? Or maybe not. Maybe they're allowing you to draw your own conclusions. But I would read a part two of this book, even though it seems like there has been a conclusion. That's how I know this is a good standalone. It's a good series when there's that overarching type of goal that's happening or story that's happening where yes, we have kind of tied up this bow with this particular part of the plot, but there is also something that, wait, what's happening with that character or what happened in that scenario or what's going to happen. So if you already know, like, okay, that was satisfying, but I need to know what happens with this, that's a great series because the author is allowing you to be able to say, okay, I'm good for now, but hurry up and write that sequel. So you need to know what happens.
Hmm.
And I think also, so Kennedy Ryan does a great job with that. Even though her secondary characters become primary characters in each of the books that she writes in the series, particularly the Skyland series, where she has, those three dynamic women, those powerhouses, right? We see them and we're like, I can't wait till she gets a book. Like that's how it should be if you're doing a series. Those are standalones where you can read one and you don't need to know the other two stories, but you want to know their story because they had such a big presence on the page. And I think when you do that, you're doing a really good job.
So when should you make that decision? Like how early on in the process of like working on the manuscript, can that change over time? Like I wanted this to be a standalone, but I really think this should be a series instead.
Oh, you're making me put on my book coach hat and I love it. I think I think that highly recommend going into it knowing that it's a series because you do need to plant those Easter eggs. You do need to have those larger than life secondary characters that have the reader interested to know what their life looks like off page. But if you're looking to possibly turn a perceived standalone, right, your original standalone into a series, I think the best thing to do is to create I guess, and this is what I have coached clients to do in the past is what was that one thing that this character was experiencing that you can expound on? So say for example, I'll take a standalone in one of my I did a prequel for a book, and it was a standalone because I felt as though, well, let me just show readers how they met because some readers were reaching out and saying, "How did they meet?" And I'm like, "I don't know." Right? Because you don't know. You're just they're together right now. So when I did the prequel, I said, okay, I need to make this where there are areas where we know where they met, we know their story, but there are possibly areas that could show up as insecurities or problems in their future relationship, right? So that I can open the door to write another book if need be. So if you have a standalone, go back, reread it. That's number one. And I know you're tired of reading it because you read it 5 or 6 or 800 times before it was published. But reread it and say, I wonder if, and put on your speculative fiction hat, what if this happened because of that? And that's where you're going to be able to open up the door for a series. There's 1,000 ways to make a standalone into a series. And just putting yourself in your reader's shoes can help you with that.
Speaking of readers, is there a wrong or a right way to read a book?
Oh my goodness. What a question. Yes, there is.
Yeah, we want to hear it.
Um,
Yeah.
there's a wrong way. Um, I was doing it wrong for a little while where I was like, every book is just so basic, right? And I wasn't tapped in because I was doing too many things at once. So before I became an immersive reader, I was doing audiobooks and I was doing it while I was at Walmart, grocery shopping, while I was doing the dishes, while I was doing all these things around the house. I do not recommend. And the reason I don't recommend is because so many pieces and parts and details get lost. So I would go to the book club meetings when before I was a moderator of Black Don't Crack, and they would be like, "Oh, and then this happened. Wait, when did that happen? Oh, that happened?" Right? And I was losing pieces because A, I was at Walmart, B, I was reading it while I was falling asleep. And so I wasn't sure where I left off. Or I was, my mind, I was preoccupied. I wasn't focused. Very easy to do when you listen to audiobook. Some people tell me they do it at work. Don't listen to an audiobook while you're working. I do not recommend because you're going to lose some pieces. You think you're paying attention, but you're really not. You're trying to multitask and you're blocking out the audiobook while you're focusing on this, or you're blocking out work, which is even worse, right? So you want to make sure that you're doing something mundane. So I started doing puzzles. So I would work on puzzles as I was listening to an audiobook. Now I'm just finding the pieces, putting them together. It's mundane. It doesn't require a lot of thinking. I was coloring. I would do coloring, how we have our adult coloring books. I would do that while I was listening to an audiobook. That doesn't require a lot of thought. So, yes, there is a wrong way. Unfortunately, we can't do it all, right? Multitasking is there's no such thing because you're blocking out something while you're doing the other thing, unfortunately.
How often do you get to read books for pleasure versus, for your knowledge and for your work?
I will probably say it's probably about 60-40 for pleasure. I do a lot of manuscripts, reading a lot of manuscripts, which requires a lot of processing and trying to fill in words and thoughts that maybe were not there for the writer. And so I'm helping them kind of connect the dots, and that requires a lot of my time. But when I am out of work and I'm in my leisure time, I do enjoy reading a lot of romance. I love romance. I love thrillers. And now I'm getting into romantasy, which is, I wasn't expecting that to happen. But I'm getting into romantasy. It is good. I'm enjoying it. And so that allows me to tap into something new. But I enjoy picking up something that is a beach read in my free time because I do a lot of nonfiction coaching and a lot of so since I do so much nonfiction, I like to pick up something that's an easy read. Sky Full of Elephants was not, though. It was really allowed me to think and to really put myself in the shoes of the main characters, and I had to stop and kind of journal and meditate a little bit on some of my thoughts that were coming up during that experience. But yes, easy reads are great for me.
Eryka, do you like those page turners or do you kind of like to take your time with the book?
I like page turners. I do. I like page turners because the short chapters, the little cliffhangers at the end of the chapters keep me turning the page, and it allows me to feel that sense of thrill. You know, life gets a little mundane sometimes. We go to work, especially when you're working remotely, right? Go to work, you get up, you make dinner, you eat dinner, you watch a TV show, you go to bed. But the thriller and suspense allows me to feel as though I have a little action in my life. And so, yes, page turners for sure.
And how do you know when a book should go, be adapted for the screens?
Oh my goodness, you know pretty soon. If the book picks up quickly, for me, that's like, oh, this should be a movie. A lot of the times we do a slow build. We try to, have the word painting, right? We try to set the scene. They're in this city, and we put a little backstory in a little early, and that's okay. And I understand what the writer is trying to do, but I prefer quick action, fast paced, and lots of drama. I mean, as much drama as you can put in there, because that allows me to escape my reality and not think about my issues, my problems, right? It allows me to immerse. And so that's always going to be great for me. And when it has that suspense, when it has the action, I can literally see it playing out in my mind, and that's going to be either a limited series or it's going to be some type of movie, and I love that. But it's never, of course, as good as the book.
Oh, yes, yes. And why do you say that?
Oh my gosh, it can't compare. It doesn't matter what star-studded cast you have. Your imagination and the way that you imagine things, it's never going to be that way. They have to cut out so much of it for pacing. So many of the details that you have grown to love and that you have, definitely fixated you and pulled you in, they have to cut for the sake of, this is going to take too long to develop. This subplot is going to take too long, or we have this certain budget. We only have so many scenes that we can shoot. So some of those beloved type of details get cut out, and then you're disappointed, or the main character does not look like how you envision, right? Like, that's not what I had in mind. So all of those things are a little disappointing at times. So I think that since Hollywood, tends to focus on the pacing and the budget, they have to cut some of our favorite scenes, unfortunately.
What made you initially not that interested in romantasy? Like, what about that genre were you surprised to now be interested in it?
I think because I wasn't a fantasy reader. So since I didn't have experience reading fantasy whatsoever, like nothing. I started watching Game of Thrones, which I broke a rule because I normally have to read the book first. That's why I have not seen Hunger Games, because I'm like, no, Suzanne Collins, I'm going to read your books. And so there's a lot of series that I have not seen. But the books are so long, and my lifestyle isn't set up for a 20-hour audiobook or an 800-page book. But once my husband convinced me to watch Game of Thrones, and he convinced me to watch, what is it? What's the ring one? Oh my god,
The,
Lord of the Rings.
oh, okay, yeah.
Yes, and Harry Potter and all those. I'm like, oh my gosh, I love this. So I made the connection and I said, okay, I like fantasy. So let's try a romance and see, like, what is that about? And so I started reading romance titles and I said, wow, this is really good. I like this. Great, because it's just the right amount of romance with the quest, and really just seeking out this big journey ahead of them, and how are they going to survive this, what are they going to do, this seems like a larger than life task, what's going to happen, that's that edge of the seat suspense type of elements that I told you that are so important to me. So little did I know that those were sprinkled in, and now I'm kind of hooked.
Nice. Okay. You did mention Harry Potter. I just want to know, and within literature, is it okay to separate the art from the author?
Oh wow. I think, wow, the art sometimes consumes the author. Sometimes you don't even think about the author because the art takes on a life of its own. And when that happens, that's the goal, right? We don't want to always think about the author. We want to fall in love with the characters, with the story, with the journey.
Yeah.
That connection is, we can see ourselves in some of those characters, and we can see some of our, obstacles and bottlenecks and some of those same uh things that are in the quest that are holding them back. And so that connection happens. And when that happens, we don't think about the author at all. And that's okay, because I think that's what the author prefers. A lot of writers are introverts. They're behind the scenes. They don't really want to be at the forefront. They just want you to enjoy their work. And so I think mission accomplished in a lot of these stories that are being made into films. It's it's an amazing thing that this all started from a book.
Absolutely. And the next book club pick for Black Don't Crack, the April one is going to be The Violin Conspiracy, a novel.
Yes.
So why are you excited to, center a conversation around this one?
I think when we are selecting books, I like to select books that I've seen around. I've there's been a buzz. I've
Yeah.
seen it in my feed. I've seen it come up. And so I am one of those people, I do not read the back of the book. So do I know what it's about? I don't. I just know that I've seen it a lot. I've seen it. And that's why Sky Full of Elephants had that impact on me, because I didn't even read the back of it. If I see it and I see people are talking about it, then my book club needs to be talking about it. And so I have not read the back of the book. What I did do was make sure went on Amazon, and I made sure that there were enough reviews of the book, and that the author had multiple books, because the goal is to, if you like this book, hopefully you can take a deep dive into their catalog and see that they have other books that are available. So we want to choose authors that have multiple books. We want to choose authors that have the backing, so that, and mostly it's because we want to have a book, an author that has an audiobook available, an ebook, and a print book, because we consume in all different aspects. Some of us are audiobook listeners, some of us like print, and some of us like to swipe on our Kindles. And so sometimes with some indie authors, or some authors that are, come from a space where they're not able to have the funding to provide all three formats, it's limiting because we're not able to consume it in the way that we need to. So I saw a Violin Conspiracy all through my Libby app, and I saw it in a lot of the book reviews that I was seeing coming across in Goodreads, and I said, let's do it. So that's how we chose that one. And I did look at a short blurb of it. I didn't read the back, but I saw it and I was like, oh wow, this looks really interesting and creative. So let's do it.
Yeah, and it
Now,
was,
in going forward, I probably will be a little more particular, but in the first few books, I said, well, let's just see. It's been circulating. Let's see what it's about.
and this also was a Good Morning America book club pick too.
Yes, I saw that as well. Yes. And so, I mean, how can you go wrong with GMA, right? So, yes, very exciting.
What have been some of your favorite moments from Black Don't Crack Book Spine so far?
We have had a lot of fun. I like to do games. I like to have fun games as part of our icebreaker, because some of us are new. We had an existing book club that came into this book club, but a lot of us, there are a lot of new faces. And so, in order for us to be able to build that connection and laugh and connect and have a great time, I like to have a good icebreaker. I'm like one of those board game people. You come over my house for a game night, we're going to have a great time. So we do a lot of trivia. We do a lot of who said this kind of quotes where and that makes you pay attention to when you're listening to see, okay, such and such said that to this person, because then you get to guess correctly about the quote game of who said that. So it makes you more attentive. That's a goal of the trivia, is to make it where you're paying attention to the book. You're not just kind of getting through it to get through it. You are actually paying attention to the content. And then we have a lot of the discussion questions are great. We never get through all of because everyone is so expressive. And so we have a great time just talking. So I have maybe 14 discussion questions. We get through maybe six because we're having a great time and we only have that hour. Um, and so the element is just a welcome atmosphere. We laugh, we have a lot of great opinions, but most of all, we're just looking to share our experiences because this is our safe space to talk about some of the things that we're going through, being real with each other, opening up and building connections. And so that's always the goal. So yeah, you're gonna come, you're gonna laugh, you're gonna have a good time. I'm gonna make sure you're gonna laugh at least a few times because life is too heavy sometimes. We need to laugh.
Absolutely. How would you say that you have grown as a moderator for Black Don't Crack? Because I know you already have
Um,
experience as a
Yes, I had, there was an organization called Beautiful Brown Girls. And so in that organization, I was the book club leader for them. And so a lot of the people that came from Beautiful Brown Girls are in Black Don't Crack. I would say, wow, the growth has been definitely doing the PowerPoint slides throughout the book club meetings because I was not doing that. I was just writing down my questions in a journal and reading them. Now it's a lot more structured. We want it to be structured because if someone is coming and joining for the first time, we want them to know what to expect. We want to tell them about our Discord app, which is where we talk in between meetings. And we'll have different channels to talk about the book. So if you're not able to make it to the meeting, you can talk and have like a spoiler free type of conversation where you're not ruining it for everyone in the general area. And so we have a lot of great discussions there. And then we just like to connect and have a good time. So the structure was definitely, I think, the biggest transition for me, which a lot of people have definitely expressed that they enjoy that.
What do you like most about working with Troy Johnson?
Troy Johnson he's an amazing connector. He is great at being a person that says, I know a person, or you can benefit from this interaction or this relationship or this book. His main goal is to make sure that people are having a good time and connecting and building community and being informed. He's really working hard on the website to make sure that aalbc.com has everything we need. It's a hub. It's a Black bookseller. So people who are members can get a discount on their book purchases for the title the book club picks. He wants to make sure that we're able to have resources for the Black book, the best-selling Black authors. So he has built this kind of ecosystem where you have access to all of the leading Black titles in the publishing landscape, which is huge because then you're able to, of course, have your own individual TBR, your to be read list, but you also can sprinkle in some of those books that everyone is talking about, that highly consumed books. And that books are important to our history and our culture. So I love that. Working with Troy is just very collaborative. He's very open to new ideas. It's not just, no, this is how it's going to be. He's very, very open to learning about, hey, I really like the book clubs do this. This is trendy. This is cute. What do you think about it? Go for it. And that's been a really great experience because you think of someone with all that wisdom and all that knowledge and all that experience, they're going to say, well, this is how it's going to be. But that's definitely not been the situation. He respects what I bring to the table, and there's a mutual respect there that I really admire.
Perfect. What are your best tips for virtual book clubs, Eryka?
Come and, like you said in your very well written article, be a creeper, right? Like, come, and if you haven't read the book, come anyway. Learn the culture, learn who we are, learn who's in the room, connect with someone, find someone that, has a similar type of style or preference than you, and have a conversation with them, do a virtual coffee with them. So there are a lot of ways to be able to connect with people. Even though we're not in person, we still try to have this larger than life type of environment where you can chip in, we can laugh, and we can grow together. And I love just the feedback of it. Okay, guys, this was a slow burn. Do we not like slow burns? No, we don't like slow burns. Okay, so I need to make sure that these books are going to be fast paced. So when I'm researching the next titles, I need to make sure that they're not taking too long to wrap up. So I'm always getting that feedback, and I love that they're able to give that. People who are not necessarily don't like to leave their house, they're like to be at home, they're homebodies, can still get the connection in the community. So important, because no one wants to feel like they're left out and that they're not being included in spaces. So we try to make it where if you don't have the opportunity to go to a library or bookstore, let's bring that to you and have that same experience for you.
And on that note, Eryka Parker, you are so booking cool. And thank you for coming on today and talking with us. Everyone, make sure that you visit aalbc.com. And Eryka, let us know how else we can keep in touch and stay updated.
The best way to keep in touch is definitely through the website. And then, like I said, come and creep, join one of our meetings, even if you haven't read it, and join the Discord app. We share that information as well. Find us there, and send a friend, bring a friend. We love the more the merrier.
Absolutely. Sounds good. And anything else you'd like to share?
No, thank you for sharing your platform with me. This was an amazing conversation. I enjoyed it.
Oh, the pleasure is all mine. Thank you. And keep up the awesome work that you've been doing and are continuing to do.
Thank you.
No
You too.
problem. Thank you so much. And thank you to all the viewers and listeners. Until next time, so booking cool.
That's so motherfucking cool to listen to So Booking Cool.